Welcome in to the Charge On podcast with Pastor Wayne Bray. On this podcast, we equip believers to charge on and live out their faith in the real world. I'm your host, Dallas Wilson, and joined, as always, with me is Pastor Wayne Bray. Pastor Wayne, how you doing?
Doing great. How about you, Dallas?
I'm doing good. Life going pretty good.
Fantastic.
Cowboys lost Sunday, so
they did, which is very normal. So Things are going as the last 2 decades have gone.
My Atlanta Falcons won on Monday Night Football.
How about your dogs won?
They did.
They did. And that's 1 for 1. One out of the last 2 games.
We won. We're 2 for 2 in the last 2.
2 out of the last 3 games.
2 out of the last 3 because we lost.
How many games have y'all
Alabama.
won against Alabama in the last 10, 15 years?
The only one that mattered. Hey, so what do you think about Kirby's timeout?
Yeah, it looked like he was lying, but Nick Saban was our coach forever, an Alabama fan, so I've never really felt like a coach's spiritual maturity was necessarily the most important thing on Saturday game day. So I'm not sure that all the criticism is, whatever.
I don't care if he was lying or not. What I care about is that we beat Auburn. So everything is right in my world. It's been this is my favorite time of the year. Do you have a favorite season?
I like football season. I mean, fall, probably best, yeah.
So I've got a theory about seasons, a hot take, I guess, is what it actually is. The best time of the year is actually September 1st to December 31st, without question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the best time of the year.
And holidays, too.
The worst time of the year is January 1st till April 1st. I feel like life starts to pick back up again when Masters Week rolls around.
Really?
I hate January and February, bro. It's so cold. And there's no sports on TV. I don't like it.
I don't mind it, but I do agree. I think I like the fall.
And it gets dark early. Do you believe? Are you a daylight savings time person? Do you
I don't really have a strong opinion.
I hate it when it gets dark early outside. Yeah, I feel depressed, bro.
Well, Amy usually goes to sleep with the sun.
Yeah, Jenna does too. So, hey, you gotta watch out for Jenna. Jenna will be asleep at like dark 30. Like,
but I'm indifferent. I mean, I'm gonna stay up till 12, 1 o'clock, no matter what.
When it gets dark early outside, I feel like I'm like, I might as well go to bed too. So I get it. Man, it's been an important couple weeks in the life of our church.
Yeah.
We kicked off our Encounter initiative 3 weeks ago. You did a video that was our live stream, right, to all services. We do that a couple times a year.
Yep.
It was really cool for me. The live stream gets better and better every time we do it, man. It just becomes more part of who we are. And so I had a really cool experience at Upstate Church Haywood. The roof collapsed there 8 weeks ago now. And, man, people have just taken it in stride. They're like they're super excited. And so even on live stream Sunday, man, it was cool just to watch everybody with their Bibles taking notes on you as you were plastered on a cinder block wall instead of a screen.
Not ideal technological.
No, man, but it was great.
It
worked out. Just kudos to the people at Upstate Church Haywood. They've been troopers through it all.
Legitimately unreal, man.
Yeah.
Every turn, the team and all the volunteers and Haywood has been exemplary.
Yeah. So it's been a fun couple of weeks, and I want to spend some time today. Just helping the people who listen to the podcast prepare a little bit more for the Encounter initiative. This is a super important season in the life of our church. I think the Encounter initiative is probably going to be a launching pad more than the average layperson can even understand, can even feel yet. I hope that this Encounter season is going to be a launching pad for what God's doing in the next couple of years. And man, I know there's some stuff already cooking that we're excited to share with people. But I just want to help people prepare for that. And so I think a good starting point as we talk about Encounter and kicking it off was our Encounter prayer night that we had this past Sunday. So it was October 12th. Man, for anybody that wasn't there, just tell them what happened at our Encounter prayer night.
Yeah, so we just had it was obviously we had a plan, and that's kind of like anytime, I think anytime you pray and ask God to do something, to move, you should have a plan and structure of what you hope he'll use. So we went into it with a plan, with some songs, with communion, Lord's Supper, and different pastors coming up and having a time of challenge and scripture reading, that kind of thing. But I'm telling you, it really turned into what we really hoped it would be, and I feel like it was one of those things where we didn't want to overprogram it, and we
Right.
just allowed room for the Lord to move. And man, I'm telling you, I don't know that there was more than 5 minutes out of an hour where the altars weren't just slammed.
It
Pretty
was
much,
truly great.
it
Yeah.
was just like a real. I'll say organic, but it was much more of a spirit led, just a saturation
Right.
of the people praying in the altar, taking the Lord's Supper, singing at the top of their lungs, man, with arms
Yeah.
raised and just giving it to Him. It's just beautiful, man.
Can I make a confession to you?
Yeah,
So as the night approached, so we've been working on the encounter prayer night for a couple months now.
right.
We knew it was on the calendar, and we had planned. Man, we just wanted to be a time where we seek the Lord together, right? And that sounds really good, like in the theoretical realm,
Hmm.
right? And so, but me and Josh Morton got together. We started putting some stuff together, thinking about the flow, making sure we had the songs where we wanted them, making sure that we had enough time to guide our people into prayer and experiencing the Lord. And so we knew that we wanted it to be a time where people can intentionally seek the Lord. My confession is that as the day approached, and especially the day of, I was super worried that we had not planned well.
Hmm.
I was like, man, we have, because everything else we do, we try to be strategic in everything we do,
Sure.
right? We're not planning. And I just thought, man, like, Lord, I hope this goes well because we've not planned it very well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
But honestly, it felt like the kind of night that God kind of showed me your good planning only accounts for so much.
yeah. I always say it like this, and this isn't like strategic planning in the traditional sense of the term, but I mean, like anytime you plan, I always say strategic planning is spiritual stewardship, because anytime you plan, you're being a good steward. You should
Right.
plan, and that's the. I think there's even a healthy tension in your mind coming into an event like that. Did I plan enough? Did I? But the cool thing is, I think when we do plan, always holding the plans loosely enough to where even if God changes something and does something differently,
Right.
I know because even some of the pastors we had in their planned notes or focus
Right.
to say, hey, this is going to be a time where we invite you to come to the altar. And by that time, half of the church had already been at the altar.
That's right.
That was kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Actually, it was like if you want to come back to the altar,
Yeah,
you
so
can come back.
Dustin,
Yeah.
Dustin was like, so some of you already been twice.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe a third time's okay though.
but that's cool,
Yeah.
you know?
You can. I think what God's teaching me, and like, man, our church is what. First of all, like you say something like encounter, we got to be clear. We're not saying we hadn't been encountering the Lord,
Correct.
because man, the Lord's been all over our church for a few years. But I think what God has kind of taught me, even through as we start this encounter series, is your planning can only take you so far when what you're seeking is God's presence.
Mm,
So, like, God's presence showed up and was just there. I can tell you the thought that I had when the altar was full that night. So I kind of welcomed us, and the 5 minutes where nobody was at the altar was the first 5 minutes.
right.
After that, the
It's
altar was
crazy.
just full. And man, as everybody was just praying and seeking the Lord, and you could just tell that people there were hungry for God.
Mm.
The thought that came to my mind was from the Chronicles of Narnia. So I've read the Chronicles of Narnia. I love the Chronicles of Narnia. I know they're children's books. So you got some.
I like the movies.
Okay, I was about to say I feel like you're about to pick
Yeah,
on me or something.
if you start a question with "Have you read the book?" and it's a fictional book, the answer is no.
I know, okay,
But I've seen
it's
the
okay. I'm
movies.
telling you what I like about it. It's all right. There's a part in the Chronicles of Narnia where one of the people, Aslan's the lion, right?
Right.
Aslan represents Jesus, and one of the characters says, "I can tell you this: Aslan is on the move." And like, I
Mhm.
just felt like, man, God's on the move.
He's on the move.
Like, that's for sure. So, if
Yeah.
anybody's watching and they didn't come, what do you got to tell them? You missed out.
I think going back to that little got impressed on my heart. I don't know if I showed you my notes or not, but it was like some scribble stuff
Yeah.
down. I just moments before I got up, my whole thought process was centered around, are we really hungry? Because I think, and I didn't say this Sunday night, but I even thought about hunger. I don't know that physically I hunger very often. I don't know how many people, listen to this will be able to relate to that, but I eat before I'm hungry. And
Okay.
so I don't really get hungry, and so when I do skip a meal or something like that, it's a very odd feeling and one I don't feel often. And so I know that's maybe everybody can't relate to that, but I would say it's spiritually speaking. I think we can become so comfortable and used to and saturated with the things we fill our lives with that we kind of give credit to being God or
Right.
spiritual, and maybe they're Christian things, but they kind of maybe are like appetite suppressants.
Right.
I hope that makes sense,
They've
and
dulled you a little bit.
they almost damper our real hunger.
You're saying there's a spiritual adipex.
There's very much like a possibility of religion becoming an appetite suppressant.
I thought that was funny. You didn't.
I didn't care.
Okay.
But something that really satisfies, And so that was one side of it. Then the whole starving thing. Because I really almost came up and said, "Are you starving for Jesus?" But then the more I thought about that, starvation's not the goal.
Right.
Starvation's a negative thing because that
Right.
would mean you're malnourished because you've neglected to eat.
Right. And
That's
because you can have
dumb.
Jesus if you want him.
Right.
Right.
He's wanting to feed you. So we're not wanting to be starving. We're wanting to be hungry. It's a good thing to be hungry. So that's if you miss that, get hungry, man.
Yeah.
Get hungry enough to give up a Sunday night at 6.
That's definitely what I'm praying for, man, that God will create a spiritual hunger
Mm.
in every person who calls Upstate Church home.
People who were there were hungry.
Yeah. And
You
I can
could
tell you
feel
this, they were happy they came.
Yes.
Yeah. So for the people, maybe there are people listening to this who are new to our church. Maybe there are people who have been like through every initiative we've done.
Yeah.
In your mind, what's different about Encounter than the other initiatives? So
Yeah.
at this point, I've been a part of All In.
Yep.
One,
Mm-hmm.
Deeper,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is initiative number 4, isn't it right? This is
That's
the 4th
correct. Yeah, this starts our 7th year of doing initiatives.
How is this initiative different than the ones we've done?
Yeah, so originally, we've never looked at them as campaigns, but they definitely started with more of a financial component. So 6 years ago when we did All In, it was right at the beginning before COVID hit. So
it's a great time to start a campaign.
2019, greatest time for an emphasis ever, But the weird thing is God used it, man, because it was a heavier emphasis on debt retirement at that time. So it was a bigger financial component, but it was all like basically saying, let's all go all in.
Right.
Let's get committed. It was needful at the time. And if you ever wondered, like, how do we come up with these initiatives? Really, the pastors are the ones who kind of start that, initiate where's the heart of our people, where's God leading us, what do we need at this moment. And so that was where we were. The next 2 years, one was very much a unity. It was about, we were expanding like crazy, like planting 2 campuses in one day.
Right. And multi-site still relatively new the way we're doing it.
Yeah.
Right?
During the one initiative, I think we went from, technically, if you count the 2 months before we launched the initiative, I think we went from 3 to 6 or 7 campuses. So, or locations. It was really a lot of expansion. So that it was so crazy. God knew
what
that we needed the unity focus. We came out of one more unified than we ever been, even though we had doubled in campus expansion. And then when we went into Deeper, we had grown. You guys, everybody knows, we'd grown so much that we were like, man, we have grown up like crazy. We need to grow deeper.
That's right.
We need to make sure we disciple people effectively and have an emphasis on spiritual formation.
Still
all
focusing on that for sure.
So we've not stopped. I'll be honest, we've not stopped All In.
Right.
We've not stopped one. It's almost like these initiatives build on one another. And so in Deeper was, of course, a emphasis on Bible, reading the Bible daily.
Preaching through the Bible in a year right now.
It's been so good. Right. Just a rich time. And so Encounter is kind of like a Deeper too. We look at it very much like a complement to the other 3.
Right.
And in many ways, it's really an outcome of us doing all the others. So it's an outcome of our being all in, unified as a body, and growing deeper together. We're going to encounter God like never before. That's the hope.
Yeah, and this whole initiative is being built on one place. So Hosea 10:12. And honestly, I just got a Bible so we can read the whole verse, but there's a part of it that I cannot get past, man. It just keeps coming back to me. Sow for yourselves righteousness, reap steadfast love, break up your fallow ground. This is the part that God's just been all over me about. For it's time to seek the Lord.
Yeah.
That he may come and rain righteousness upon you. That phrase is time to seek the Lord. Time's important, right? Time tells you what you should be doing at any given moment, right? Dinner time is you need to eat, bedtime, and you go to sleep. Like God, I think God's just been so clear with what he wants Upstate Church right now. It's just time. It's time to seek the Lord, right? And so that's what this whole thing's built upon, man. It's off to a good start.
Yeah, and the whole idea of fallow ground, is certainly relevant in the sense that we need to plow up.
That's right.
the hard places, the places that
Right.
are in many ways we've kind of pushed away or maybe
Yeah.
held in a private place and not allowed God to
Yeah.
invade. You
Yeah.
know, and for me, a lot of a term that or phrase I guess I'm saying a lot about is making room for God.
Yeah. That's
I
good.
think we've crowded our lives with needless things, and that has clouded our
Yeah.
view of Him. And so when we're crowded and clouded, we don't have the ground ready to have the seeds planted,
That's right.
you know? And
Yeah.
so getting our heart ready to hear from Him.
John Tyson talks a lot about
Mm,
like this idea of fallow ground. And he said, the fallow ground is the spot that you could give to God and experience more growth.
mm,
And so I was challenged when I kind of heard that. So here's some of the examples. We'll talk more about this in just a second. But some of the examples he gave, obviously they're the obvious ones where everybody's thinking sin,
mm.
like places that I've made my heart God. He said the other things that are fallow ground are binging Netflix.
Wow. Yeah.
Because that space that he's like, if your life's a busy life and you want to experience God, well, somewhere you got to look at and say, okay, I can till this up
Yeah.
and give it to the Lord and experience Him more.
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal, man. You want to encounter God. Encountering God will cost you something.
Sure.
And so, like, just even preparing our people for that.
Every time you choose, you lose.
Every time you choose, you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there may be somebody listening who's like, man, totally taking their responsibility as a dad and husband seriously, and they're working their rear end off,
Right.
man. I'm talking like the most committed um, provider, I guess you could say, that you could ask for. But maybe their occupations, their fallow ground.
That's right.
Because, I think sometimes we can, in the name of being who and what God wanted us to be, we can totally neglect some of the more important
Yeah.
things, and so just being open to hear God correct us in
That's
some
right.
of that stuff.
Fallow ground's good things and
Could
bad
be.
things.
Yeah.
I think everybody who's listening, if they really want to encounter God, they might have to ask themselves one question: how bad do I want to encounter God?
Yeah.
Like, what am I willing to give up to encounter God?
Yeah. Because, I mean, rarely do you find anything you're not looking for.
That's right. Yeah.
And we can say we're seeking the Lord,
Yeah.
but a lot of people seek Him on Sunday morning from 11 to 12.
Well,
You
that's
know what
what
I'm
I,
saying?
I told. I opened the series here at Simpsonville um, a couple weeks ago, and that's where I even started. If you want God, you can have Him.
Mm.
The sad part is most people think they do, and have settled for anything else.
Yeah. I mean, we sing "I Surrender Some."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, oh God, I'll go anywhere except here. I'll do anything except this. I'll give anything as long as it's not more than that.
That's right.
And so, from financial things to going where God called, there's people listening who God called to preach, God called to missions,
Right.
God called to Sunday school
Still
teacher, God
calling.
still got called. And honestly, just have wrestled with it. And that this whole encounter initiative is an opportunity to just say, I'm going to remove all of the noise canceling
That's right.
that I have used to muffle out your voice, because
Right.
that's what we do with the
That's right.
junk in our lives. And I want to hear from you, and I'm going to listen. I'm going to
That's
do what
good.
you say.
That's
Yeah.
good. I think what I want us to do is the people who are listening to this podcast, I think, are probably extra plugged into our church. And so I thought today maybe what we could do is reward them a little bit
Mm.
by giving them some personal priorities. So here's the way I read the Bible. We can't control whether we encounter God or not.
Mm.
There's two parties in a relationship. You can't control whether you encounter God or not, but you can put yourself in a position to encounter Him. And God's a faithful God. And anytime the Bible says you call on the name of the Lord, He hears you, right?
Mm.
So I wanna help our people posture themselves, put themselves in a position to encounter the Lord and
Yeah.
and help them do that the best they can. And so I figured we'd look at Psalm 63.
Yeah.
That's what we preached this past week. Some of us preached it a little bit longer than others. I went long, which is not unusual. But even though I preached longer than everybody else, I actually didn't get to finish preaching my sermon. I know you just told me you didn't
Yeah.
either.
I didn't in the third service. Yeah.
So I want to walk through Psalm 63 and kind of point out 4 priorities if you want to encounter God. All right.
Okay.
Sound good to you?
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
do it.
Priority number 1. If you want to encounter God, priority number 1 is prioritize spending time with God. And verse 1 says this. It says, "Oh God, you are my God. Earnestly I seek you." Now, the King James Version has another word that I actually think earnestly is a disposition, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
man, my heart, my mind, my eyes, they're set on you.
It's almost like sincerely, sometimes we think,
Yeah,
is
like
what earnest, like,
that's right.
yeah.
Um, King James says, "Early do I seek thee,"
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason why the King James uses that verb this Hebrew verb has the connotation of like prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
It has the
So what you're
connotation.
saying is King James more accurate here?
I've always been a fan of King Jimmy. No disrespect.
There's gonna be somebody in the background going, "Hey man,
That's right.
hey man."
But earnestly, early it has the same connotation, but it's like from a priority
Yeah.
perspective. And so from throughout the early church, this was a psalm that people that the church fathers encouraged to read it first thing in the morning. Like,
Yep.
early do I seek thee. And so
Morning prayers, you have
that's right.
dawn prayers.
Yeah.
Even the Hebrew word is used for the morning prayers. You know that?
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. A little bit.
Dr. Wayne Bray,
Yeah, there you go.
dropping some knowledge right here. So prioritizing spending time with God. The reason why early is a connotation of priority is if you do something early, you do it before you have the chance for it to be crowded out in the
Mm-hmm.
rest of your day.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is like prioritizing spending time with God. I think there's no way that anybody could disagree with this, but if you want to encounter God, it starts by pursuing God and spending time with Him.
100%.
What does that look like for people? What does that look like for you? What advice do you give to people when you say, "Hey, this is how I prioritize spending God." And here's what I love about this. I think we're going to answer this different ways.
Sure.
So, what does
Yeah.
that look like?
For me, it's overly practical. Everything I think about is practical. I'm just a simple man. Leonard Skinner
Leonard Skinner,
playing in
baby.
the background.
All right.
Simple. Anyway,
Can we? Hey, as y'all
kind
edit
of
this, can y'all add
man,
Leonard Skinner to this part? That would be great.
something you love and understand. Anyway,
I hope that they add that.
they might. You never
yeah.
know. I would say that when I'm trying to explain to people how you draw closer to God, relationship. We use that word though, and it sounds super like Sunday morning pastor talk.
Right.
But it's like, I think about my relationship with Amy. And so even Sunday, I used her as an example a few times because I think it helps me understand that it is priority. And I think when I spend time with Amy, when I actually want to, spend time with her and her be happy about it, then if I had been cutting grass outside, I'm gonna clean up
Right.
before
That's right.
before I spend time with her. I'm gonna prioritize her. I'm not gonna be distracted by 25 other things when I'm talking to her.
Mm.
Literally, sometimes when I've done this in marriage counseling, but I mean, when people, when she comes in and she's telling me something, I'm ADD all over the place. I'm watching a baseball game, football game. I don't hear what she says.
Right.
I have a choice. I can say, yeah, baby, or I can turn the TV off and say, baby, could you say that one more time? And I'm gonna put down the remote and I'm gonna look her in the eyes. The reason that matters is because I actually have then chosen her.
Giving her your attention.
Prioritized her.
Right.
I've sought her early.
Yeah.
That is all. That's really all Psalm 63 is saying. It's not saying the morning, even though I understand it is more what you're saying, and that is I'm making my relationship with her a higher priority than any other distraction or something else that I might otherwise communicate to her I care about more.
That's right.
So anyway, it's practical.
Man, I feel like I'm in marriage counseling right now. Did Jenna call you?
Only twice.
Yeah, Jenna's like, you are hearing me, but you're not listening to me. I'm listening, baby. I'm listening to you. All right. Yeah, I think that's a great example. It's funny that you talked a lot about Amy Sunday because I talked a lot about Jenna Sunday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's our number one relationship this side of heaven,
Yeah, and that is what prioritizing means, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's such a good example of it. I think one of the ways I do this in my mind, I'm like you in a lot of ways. Jenna says that I don't even need to like go to the doctor to get a diagnosis for ADHD. She's like, if anybody's ever had it, you have it. And I'm like, thanks, babe. That means so much. But I have to literally carve out some time in my morning for it because if I don't, I just I just don't make time for it the rest of the day. And so what I found is like,
but you're a morning person.
I am a morning person. So at 9 o'clock at night, I'm literally going to bed.
Right.
The night that the Haywood roof was, we were seeing there were some problems.
Yep.
And you called me and were like, hey, just want you to be aware. I was already asleep.
Already asleep.
And yeah, so And it turns out there was nothing I could have done anyway, so it doesn't matter.
And very often you wake up at 5 o'clock
Yeah.
and see emails I sent you at 1 a.m.
Yeah, it is not abnormal for me to get an email that says Pastor Wayne at 1 a.m. and I know that you didn't want to text me.
That's right. Didn't want to wake you up.
But so what I do is I take like 30 minutes. I think people think you got to be extravagant with this, right? But I take 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Sometimes it depends on how quickly after I get up that my children get up, right?
Yeah.
But I just take some time that early in the morning and say, God, you matter to me more than anything else is going to matter to me today. So I'm just going to seek you. I'm going to read your word. I'm going to pray. For me personally, I have to write my prayers down. I can't, like, people are like, I just kneel down and pray. Bro, if I kneel down and pray, it's over. I don't. So I write my prayers out, and that's what I do. But to me, that's how I pursue the Lord, right?
Yeah.
You pursue what you find most valuable. And some people say, well, I can't stay up late to pursue the Lord. I can't get up early to pursue the Lord. Well, you're pursuing what you think is most valuable every day in your life.
For sure.
One way or the other. And so
a lot about it's the rhythms that you've created over time too.
Yeah.
Because like we had with 5 kids, legitimately, mornings were just never an option for me. And I just, and maybe I shouldn't say it that way. In my personality and makeup, it wasn't an option. But the kids would all go to bed at 9.
And then you got the rest of the night.
And so that's probably why my rhythm has been that way all these years. And so I've had a later opportunity to turn everything off. Amy goes to sleep like you, 9 o'clock. And so I think that's the rhythm is individual, but it's got to be a priority. And then I thought about this a minute ago too, just thinking about relationship too, and think about just normal eating. So if Amy and I eat just a normal meal, it's just a normal meal. It might be a 20-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute meal. But there are times where Amy and I go to Hall's Chop House, praise Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a long time.
It ain't no short meal. Right. In fact, I don't want to rush it.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
I want it. I want to get every side dish. I want the salad. I want the dessert after the filet. And, so there are times we should spend more time with God. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So I don't think it's like a cookie cutter. It's got to be, 15 minutes. It's got to be an hour.
Right.
It's got to be, I think you should have a rhythm that's normal. And then there should be times where if it matters enough to your wife to take her out and to have a special connection relationship with her once a month, you need to probably have a time with God where you really dive deeper.
I think most of the problem in that is that people never take the time. So you're a night guy. I'm a morning guy.
Yep.
We took the time to learn our rhythms. We took the time to prioritize what mattered most. I think most of the time the problem is that people don't prioritize God enough to figure out what that rhythm is.
Right.
And so I'm really praying, I'm praying that people in our church would figure out what that rhythm is so that they could spend time with God. Can you imagine how different our church will be if the people who right now currently don't spend any time with God just figure out a rhythm to say, hey, God, I'm going to figure out how to seek you. Earnestly do I seek thee.
It'd change everything.
I really believe that.
And I said this Sunday, and after I said it, I did not plan to say it, but I knew it was pretty confrontational. But I really do believe it's super true. But it was about husband and wife. But I said something to the effect of, husbands, if you spend more time with your friends than you do your wife, there's a problem.
Correct.
Nobody would at least reject that, even though it might have really hurt some feelings and got conversations started at home. But
see, I told you that.
Right. But I think the whole relevance to the conversation about encountering God is it's no different with God.
That's right.
Whatever we give our most time to, most attention to, whatever is our highest priority, whatever we seek for early, is what we're going to actually encounter the most.
That's right.
So just putting him in that place.
Yeah. So priority number 1, spending time, seek to spend intentional time with God.
Mm-hmm.
Priority number 2, I think you got to seek to spend intentional time with God's people in God's presence. So here's what Psalm 63:2 says. So I have looked upon you in the sanctuary, beholding your power and glory. Now, here's what's really interesting. When David writes that, he actually is not in the sanctuary. He's in the wilderness. He's thinking about when he did go into the temple, which is where God dwelt, right?
Yeah.
And spent time with the Lord. So I think one thing that's really interesting in that concept is that what's sustaining David in the wilderness is that he spent time with God and God's people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when he wasn't able to do it, he missed it.
That's right. Yeah. So I think one thing I just want to highlight for people here, We got 5,000 people who attend our church
Mm.
on somewhat of a weekly basis. That number probably is much higher based on the fact that most people don't go to church.
Average 1.7 times
Yeah,
a month is the
exactly right.
average Southern Baptist. I think ours is higher than that.
It probably is, but I think part of encountering God in this season that I'm really hoping it's going to change
Mm.
is that those 1.8 times per month people would make it a priority to spend time with God in God's people,
Yeah.
right? And so, in your mind, if there's somebody listening to this who's
Mm.
attending 1.8 times a month, 1.7 times a month. There's somebody who's listening to this who comes 3 out of 4 Sundays, but is not plugged in, not in a
Mm.
small group.
Mhm.
Like, as their pastor, what would you say to them about that?
Yeah, don't be surprised when your life is falling apart, number 1.
Okay.
I mean, that's the
Yeah,
thing that's just so it's like it's crazy to me how many people are so shocked when things go south and their family's falling apart and everything they've done has led them there.
that's right.
That's not always the case. I don't wanna
No,
make
yeah,
it sound like
sometimes
that.
people have
But
tragedy
yeah,
for
if you
sure.
I mean, if you eat half of your meals, let's say you skip breakfast and lunch every day of your life and only ate dinner and you ate candy the rest of the time, you'd be an unhealthy mess
Right.
physically. And so the same's true spiritually. I mean, you can't neglect the body of Christ, hearing the word of God, being challenged and supported by your faith family, and then think everything's going to be just as good as if you were.
That's right.
I mean, it's not. So that's the first. That's a pretty strong challenge, but that's the I think and usually I've never heard and I try not to be like judgmental here. I've never heard a super faithful, godly person that I look up to say, you know what, you can worship God anywhere.
Yeah,
You don't have to go to church.
that's a good point.
It's always somebody whose life is not the one I want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the interesting part of that is David's faith meant enough to him that it left the private realm and went into public seeking.
Hmm.
I think we think about seeking God. That's something that our mind most immediately goes to, like this private realm.
It's got to start there, right?
David said it definitely started there.
Yeah.
Early do I seek thee, but
Right.
like the very next place it went was
Yeah.
public, and there's just no divorcing the personal pursuit of
Mm.
the Lord and the public pursuit of the Lord. And I think there's a little bit of clarification even between uh, what we're praying for the church. Man, I challenged some volunteers this past week, very small group of volunteers. Why do you come to church?
Mm.
I think sometimes we come to church in South Carolina, particularly in the Southeast, right? Because Mama told us to, right? Because it's
Mm.
a part of our culture. But David went to church and he had a very specific purpose. Went to church. I know he didn't go to church,
Right.
but he
Right.
went to the
Right.
temple. He went to the temple for a very specific purpose that he wanted to encounter God.
Mm.
So I just can't even imagine how different our church would be if everybody who's showing up is showing up for the purpose of like, man, I'm coming in here to encounter God.
Yeah.
What if you were controversial, I'm gonna be
Uh
controversial.
oh.
What if we stopped coming to church after the music was done?
Mm.
What if we stopped leaving early? What if we brought a paper Bible that we could make notes in? What if we brought a pen to write down in the note guide, right?
Mm.
What if we stopped scrolling Facebook while we were in worship service?
Mm.
Like David came, he walked into church because he was like, hey, I'm about to see the Lord. I'm
What
about to
if we were?
encounter God.
What if we were as expectant about worship on Sunday morning as we are a Saturday
Yeah,
game day?
that's right.
Because I mean, like, legitimate. We went to Tuscaloosa a few weeks back. We parked a mile away,
Walked a
walked
mile.
our feet
Yeah,
off. Man, walked all the way up in the nosebleeds. It was the 50-yard line because it was
that's right.
Tuscaloosa, you know. So, but it was way up there. Amy and I had to, and it was just killing it, son. We were just
Right.
smoking hot.
And you were happy to be there.
Dude, I was singing "Sweet Home Alabama." You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I mean, I didn't
Little
even need a hymn
Dixieland
book.
delight.
You know,
That's right.
I think that is because of the fact that I valued that game,
That's right.
and so my private appreciation was translated into a public demonstration,
That's right.
and so I think we miss it. I mean, so I feel like if people who don't value, people who do what you're talking about, like basically just look at it like it's something I got to do, checking the box, leaving early, coming in late, whatever. or not even prepare. I mean, I follow preachers who put the wallet and the keys and the Bible and then take a
Yeah.
picture every week. Say
Sunday
morning
morning church is Saturday night decision. Amen,
baby. That's amen. That's all true, and I do think that is the heart of what you're talking about, because we should be that expectant.
Yeah.
When we were going to Tuscaloosa, I ordered a jersey, an Alabama jersey, for my little daughter Lexi to go with us.
Right.
I prepared ahead of time. I was like, we don't encounter God because we don't expect to encounter
and
God.
I think sometimes people may even like watch a clip of this or catch a clip of it and get it out of context and be like, man, they're really fired up about it. But I think we can't say it's time to seek the Lord, then not be serious about it.
Yeah.
Right? And I, it's funny that you said that. I had the exact same thought when we went to Athens. I'm like, man, these people are here. They're hungry. They're barking at people.
They're
right?
all in and they're one.
That's right. And so they were serious about what they wanted.
Yeah.
And man, it's time to seek the Lord.
Yeah.
That's not a catchphrase. That's not, it's something we're serious about. And so, like, if anybody's listening to this and they think, man, they're getting fired up about this, I think what I would have them kind of realize is like, no, we mean that. Like, we mean it's time to seek the Lord.
I mean, here's the truth. You're seeking, everybody's seeking something and everybody's full of something. There you go. Quote me on that. It's a fact. Clip that. That's a fact. Everybody's seeking something and everybody's full of something. The truth is, as believers, we should be seeking the Lord early, first, highest priority, and we should be filled with the Spirit. But the fact is, we don't have room in our lives for the Spirit because we have crowded it with so many other things that are junk in comparison. So I do think you're absolutely right. Yeah. That's the only way we're going to encounter Him is if we really seek Him. Not just say it, but really seek Him.
Yeah. Priority number 3, you should prioritize praise. Verse 3, because your steadfast love is better than life, my lips will praise you. I think just even pointing out from this kind of standpoint, number 1, praise was a pre-decision for David. Like David wasn't prioritizing the Lord because everything in his life was going good when he said
no,
this.
It wasn't, hey, that was a good meal. Praise the Lord. Right. He wasn't eating. And I mean, he's probably starving at the time.
The thing
definitely
that
thirsty.
We're talking about like hope and encounter leads to revival. I think we can't forget that the way revival comes is when the public praise of Christians seeps into the lost world so that lost people are like, man, these people are praising God in the good, in the bad, in public, and in private. I think praise needs to infest what's going on Sunday morning and then seep its way out into the church.
You know what I thought about Sunday night, man? I don't know if anybody, we hadn't talked about this in particular, but bros, people singing their guts out.
Here's what I love. Grown men.
I'm talking.
Singing. Yeah.
They were deep.
Yeah.
I'm talking just, and that was beautiful because I think if a lost person came into that environment, they would know we meant business.
And I think they'd want what we had for sure.
And so, I do think my lips will praise you. I did kind of emphasize that in 2 of the services. I think I didn't get to it in the 3rd. But God forbid we actually say we're seeking God and we ain't even willing to sing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we look at it like, well, I'm not a good singer or whatever.
Hey, let me raise the stakes for you then.
Okay.
He says, so I will bless you as long as I live. In your name, I will put my hands in my pocket.
Oh, my goodness.
That ain't what he said.
No.
He said, I will lift my hands.
I'll lift my hands, yeah.
Man, I just even kind of made a joke on Sunday morning. I'm like, so if you're sitting there with your hands in your pockets, you just keep on in your disobedience. Like there's a level of, if God has been good to you, and what's the measure of good? The measure of good is Jesus Christ. The measure of good is not your circumstances, because in this situation, David's circumstances are categorically bad.
Yeah.
So the measure of good in your life is, he says, your steadfast love is better than life. Well, the ultimate proof of steadfast love is Jesus on the cross. Then you should lift your hands in praise. I am desperate. I'm hungry for people to have that view of God. They have that view, and here's why we know it can have. They have that view of other things. They have that view of Alabama football, or Clemson football. They have that view of what they're passionate about. But what we're hoping for Encounter is that what they get passionate about is Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
I think even down to, everybody expresses themselves differently in worship. So I don't want to be judgmental.
No, don't take it off of people, man. They got to lift their hands.
But I'm really think this is a great opportunity to drive home what you're saying, because I don't think it has to look the same for everybody.
Right.
But I do think everybody has to hear that and be convicted by it
Yeah.
because it's an expression. If like you've experienced, you will
Yeah.
express.
Not everybody's going to worship like Drew Pierce, who is
No.
completely okay with me
You
saying this
talk
on the
about all
podcast.
in, man.
Bro, I love watching
Leaves it on the
Drew.
table.
I love watching Drew worship. Right. My favorite thing is when we have a drum solo or something, a drum piece, and
He
Drew.
does air drums?
Man, well, he's a drummer.
Okay.
So he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But man, I do. Not everybody's going to worship that way, but I do think everybody's called to lean in and praise.
Well, I told I don't remember which service it was, but I told one of the services that in some churches, if somebody lifts their hand, somebody'd be like, "Hey, Pastor Wayne, they got a question."
Yeah, exactly.
And I do think that is just so foreign for some people to
Right.
think that way. But I even think about from lifting the hands kind of thing. I really do think too about thinking about what's a natural posture for a child and a father.
Holding hands up.
I mean,
Yeah.
pick me up. I need you. I think there's a lot of beauty in it. But I just say give it all you got. It was a beautiful thing Sunday night. Everybody was all in worship.
And I man, just creating that atmosphere on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
That's what we're after.
That's what I'm praying for.
Last one, prioritize thinking about God. This is going to ruffle some feathers based on where we're at in society. But he says, when I remember you upon my bed and meditate on you in the watches of the night. So basically, David's in trouble. He can't sleep. And so he doesn't pick up his phone and scroll Instagram.
True.
He starts thinking about the Lord. And this is not going to be restricted just for when you're laying on the bed at night. The point is that David's saying, in the spaces of my life, I'm filling my mind with the things of the Lord.
Yeah.
Right. And man, the problem with this is exactly what you were saying earlier. We're so full of everything else that we don't have space for God. And I think David's actually introducing a discipline here, a relational discipline. Back to what you were saying with Amy, you have to think about Amy. You have to think about, man, I'm going to be intentional.
Yes.
A relational discipline,
especially if you're attention deficit.
That's right. A relational discipline here is saying, I'm going to train myself to think about the Lord.
And on the whole idea of in the watches of the night and
That's right.
when I'm laying in my bed, it is like you think about what people say about an idle mind.
Where does your mind go?
An idle mind is the devil's playground. Is what I've heard all my life. Right. Psalm 63 is saying an idle mind should be
the Lord's delight.
A time where you focus on your highest priority.
Yeah.
And so, it starts with seek him early.
Yeah.
But then it ends really with him seek him last.
So
isn't that crazy?
That's what it's a morning psalm and it's a nighttime psalm. So it doesn't matter where you're at. He's saying you should seek him.
But if you think about it, when we're idle, that is usually when the devil gets our attention. When God is the one who deserves it.
Practically.
Yeah.
Best way I've found to do this is, and I'm not everybody's going to want to do this. So I'm not saying it's for everybody. I am saying that everybody can do it. But I've tried to memorize scripture long form. So, and I even do this now. I started applying it because I go to bed at 9:00. Sometimes I don't fall right to sleep. Maybe I have a lot of caffeine during the day, which I always do. But when I lay down in bed, if I'm tossing and turning, I'll just literally start whatever memory verse I'm on.
Yeah.
Right. But it is a way to turn my mind away from other things and turn it to the Lord. And you're thinking the thoughts of God. I always tell people this: if you want to change your life, I mean, if you're heading down a path you don't like, here's what you do. You start with Ephesians because it's the easiest one to memorize. You start with Ephesians and you try to memorize as much of that book as you can, and your life will change.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking the thoughts of
God. Ephesians 2, man.
It's good. I can't wait for it. I got some, by the way, when we're doing the podcast, I got some ideas for Ephesians next year we need to talk about. It's going to be good.
That's good.
All right. Well, man, we're praying for people to encounter God.
Yep.
We're drawing close to an end here. I want to wrap up with a new session. So, where the part of this podcast is cultural engagement. We want to equip believers to think about what's going on in the world, think about how they can follow God in the world around them. So what we'll do is we'll just close with some quick hits, some things that we can ask. What's going on in Wayne's world? What's going on in Wayne's mind? How does Wayne think about this?
Wayne's world. younger people have no idea what you're talking
They
about.
don't know about Wayne's
That's
World?
not a joke to them, but yeah, I get it.
It's all right. I'm not saying it to be funny. This is your world, man. I'm just living in it.
That's hilarious.
So let's do a couple quick hits.
Okay.
You can give me as little or as much response as you
All
want
right,
to,
I'm
okay?
doing it.
And then we'll wrap up with this. Number one, coming up this Saturday, Tennessee, Alabama. Who wins?
I do think Alabama wins. I'm just going to call it, but Tennessee's a good team.
So Dustin Dozier's a Tennessee fan.
I love Dustin too.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to him in preparation for this week?
Good luck. Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
I'm gonna go Tennessee.
I'm not a big. I don't talk trash before the game.
I'm gonna go Tennessee.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I know, but you do to Georgia fans, but it's because you're pretty confident.
Did I talk trash to you?
I feel like you do.
That's not true.
Okay, maybe
we just win.
I'm just scarred. Okay,
we don't talk trash. We just win.
I'm gonna go Tennessee by a field goal.
You're just offended. You're still hurt.
I am, but when the next time we record and when Tennessee wins by a field goal.
What is Kalen DeBoer's record against Georgia? I can't remember.
2-0, right?
Oh, he hadn't lost yet to Georgia. Okay.
All right, so Bama, Tennessee. We'll report back next week on that. A couple other serious headlines.
Yep.
Man, peace has been brokered in the Middle East. It looks like.
Yeah.
In the initial stages.
Right.
Help Christians think through what's going on in the Middle East and the peace process. And right now, just so keep everybody up to date. They're in the first stages where Hamas and Israel have both signed on, and Israel is going to get back all 20 of the remaining hostages alive.
Yeah.
And basically a peace process has been brokered that nobody thought was even possible.
Yeah.
So to help Christians think through that. How should we view that from a Christian perspective?
Well, I'll just back up and say even before that, the whole crisis, honestly, a 2-year
Horrible,
crisis, a tragedy. And so all life matters. I don't care who is dying. It's bad.
Yeah.
That's my, I don't, but I also, there's a lot of debate on even Israel and, the whole, the biblical Israel and the modern day Israel.
Yeah, that's probably a podcast for itself.
Not even trying to convince anybody of anything. I'll just tell you this. I've got friends in Israel and care about them very much. And so even from that perspective, I'm so grateful it's over.
Yeah.
I'm thankful to God. And I do think there's something that is so special about the Holy Land, regardless of anything else that people would debate, that I am just thrilled. I would say pray for peace. Yeah. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray that God would truly bring lasting peace. It's never going to be eternal peace until Jesus, comes back and solves it all. But I'm grateful. I'll take what we can get in the way of peace and hope and pray that it stays.
And I think in a day and age where most of the time we're going to tend to be critical of politicians and presidents and secretaries of states, man, I'll just say I'm glad that our presidents and our Secretary of State, they did. I feel like they did what a lot of people thought they couldn't do. So
I've been really encouraged and surprised. It's one of the first times in a long time that I've heard even people across the aisle, Democrats, actually saying positive things about Republicans.
That's right.
And so, hey, props to both.
Yeah.
Maybe the Trump administration for getting it done, and also Democrats. I don't know that I hear a whole lot of appreciation for Democrats acknowledging.
Yeah.
But they
did. They're giving him his roses.
So anyway,
for sure.
It's a refreshing moment.
Another headline, this kind of ties into it. Help Christians think about what's becoming an ongoing story of maybe Trump's interest in heaven. So a couple weeks ago, Trump made a comment about the Ukrainian peace deal. He said, if I can get this one done, maybe this will help me basically get into heaven.
Right.
This past Sunday, there was a story on Air Force One. Somebody basically had a follow-up question. Does this peace deal, the Hamas-Israel peace deal, help you get into heaven? And Trump said, basically, I don't know if I'm heaven material. I don't know if I'm ever going to make it to heaven. How should Christians hear the President of the United States talk about that, and how should they think and how should they process that?
Yeah, it's why, and again, it's why we are where we are in relationship to our conviction about politics and faith. And a lot of people say, well, we're electing a president, not a pastor,
right.
not a preacher, and I get that. That's all cool, touche. I would just say that it kind of supports my whole conviction when I said something about I wouldn't let either one of them teach Sunday school.
We generally don't let
Donald
not saved
Trump
people teach
or
school.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
Or Kamala Harris. Because Donald Trump clearly has a misunderstanding of soteriology. He does not know what it is to be saved.
Yeah. He was hopeful that works would get him in.
Correct. And so if we
Not
were
how it
doing the
works.
faith outline, let's
Right.
back up a few decades. If we're like, what, in your personal opinion, what do you understand it takes
Right.
for a person to go to heaven?
He's like, peace deal, maybe get me in.
He would totally not answer the question right. We would go immediately to the next stage of this person's lost.
That's right. That was a pretty good impersonation.
I thought he was in the room. But
Yeah.
that's the weird thing. But people like in our day totally defend. And like, maybe it just didn't mean that. Anyway, so to answer your question, I think clearly he was A, confused about what salvation is. What's Christianity?
That's right.
But B, seems to actually maybe have grown from the first question to the second question.
Recognizes it's not enough. Yeah.
Step one to being saved is to realize you're lost.
That's right.
Him saying, I'm not sure how did he word it? I'm not sure that I'm going to heaven. It's basically what he said. Well, that's what a lost person would say. That's hope.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, now he actually might be in a position to
be receptive to the
embrace
gospel.
The grace of God. Because when you're totally convinced that the things you're doing are going to get you there, you couldn't possibly think you need Jesus.
And I'll just say this to conservative Christians, maybe even who voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So this is really important. Don't be more concerned about what you can get out of Donald Trump than whether Donald Trump gets Jesus or not. Man,
him getting Jesus is more important.
Man, I like praise God that some people, he's been an effective president. All that's great. Praise God for that. But man, don't be more concerned about what you can get from a politician than whether a politician knows Jesus. I'm super hopeful that maybe somebody in his administration who's full of his Christians would be able to share the gospel in such a way with him that I'm just encouraged that a president is talking that openly about those things, number one, but hopeful maybe somebody can get the gospel to him.
And I would just say, in any case, I don't care if this is 8 years from now and we're talking about two different people.
Right.
I promise you it's not a Republican-Democrat thing to me.
We will be talking about two different people.
Right. And it's not anything about Trump in particular when I say this, or it wouldn't be anything about Joe Biden if it were Obama or whatever. The fact of the matter is, anytime we try to defend a politician and try to make them more godly than they are, we're guilty of sin.
That's right.
I don't need to make him or anybody more Christian than they really are.
Because it's taken away our actual Christian mission.
Vote your conscience based on biblical principles. And in many cases now, we're going to find ourselves voting for two lost people. You're voting between two lost people in most cases. And so if that's the case, your job is not to make yourself feel better about voting for somebody to make them something they're not. Vote your convictions based on your Christian faith. And then don't try to spiritualize someone who is not spiritual.
That's right.
So posting pictures, I'm not going to get specific because it would really offend people. But there's people who post pictures of politicians that bring Jesus into it. And I know God has to be up there going, did they really just post that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not on the same level.
No.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Hey, last question, a personal question. What's God teaching Pastor Wayne these days?
That I'm not in charge. That I'm not in control. A lot of things.
That was actually going to be my exact same answer.
Really?
Yeah, I think I'm excited. You want to elaborate any more on that?
I just know I think sometimes any of us, even if we spiritually know the answer and would say, well, yeah, God's in charge, but we still live our lives sometimes like we can order the things around, order our steps.
Right.
We can even kind of have a plan and unpack that plan, and maybe even as a parent and a grandparent, maybe we can maybe have plans that structure and have dreams of this and that. We just got to be really careful, even as a pastor in the church, that we constantly remain open-handed and yielded to the one who actually is in charge.
So. I think that's exactly what I'm learning too, especially since the collapse of Haywood. Man, Haywood was just going so well, and I thought, in a lot of ways, you kind of feel like you got your hands wrapped around it. Like, everything's good.
Right.
I got my hands on the steering wheel. And then what God's teaching me is that a lot of times, he's got plans that we're not even aware of. And so you shouldn't try to control it. Let him drive and not you.
And a really cool thing, stuff like with Haywood, is a great reassurance to know it's actually a good thing you're not in charge.
Yes.
When that kind of thing happened, it's God's got it.
He's in control.
He's got it.
Yeah. He can see better than I can.
That's right, man.
Well, I think we've gone all over the place today, from Bama football to President Trump's salvation. I think
That's right.
It's a good way to
We've
sign
said
off.
enough.
Well, if you find the podcast useful, go ahead and share it on YouTube and social media and all those things. Be sure to tell your friends about it. We just want to help people charge on.
Amen.
And until next time, you guys charge on.